I returned from a half-mile trip to pick up dinner. We're in end of April in 25. This is about a week ago. And I was backing into my garage and I saw the dreaded pool of fluid on the floor. That's what everybody fears. That's what I found. So you can't see this weep hole unless you take the covers off. And you're going to DIY this. You've got just a multitude of very basic screws holding in 3 total covers and 2 plastic plates that have to come off, and then you can actually get to the weep hole. So here is the weep hole right here. The drip is very minor when the vehicle is not running, and it kind of pours out of there when the vehicle is, and the fluid is circulating through the transmission. A drip or 2 on occasion, it's all right. It just means that the vehicle is, there's some expansion and contraction of all the seals inside, so a drip or 2 is okay. But if you wake up and you find a pool of fluid on the floor underneath the car, not okay. There are steps that are necessary to get the transmission out, and I will document all of them. Those panels have to come off. This bar has to come off. There's bolts on the other side here. This guard here has to come off. And then on the back side, there are two guards for the exhaust system that has to come off as well, and those will come down. First things first, I will take off the exhaust system and document where everything, what has to be removed to do so, and we'll dive into it. Underneath the car here, we've got the bulk of our brackets out. 2 brackets over the exhaust system are out. You'll notice I put the bolts back into their original position. It just helps me to keep track of my bolts. Might be something you want to do as well. So there's a clamp on the exhaust system up in the front, holding the exhaust system together. You're going to see an exhaust hanger here. One more there. You're going to have an exhaust hanger here. One on the other side. And I wanted to point out, so if you've got the performance exhaust on your, well, I mean, realistically, we're showing this video for anybody who's got the Getrag transmission, and that could be Ferrari or the Ford GT as well. So, but for you AMG GT, GTS, GTC, or GTR owners, this is your exhaust flap module. So I have to disconnect the electronics to this here, and one more on this side here, and that's it. I will use a floor jack or my low-profile scissor transmission jack to lower the front end, and then lower the back end. So that's next. All the brackets for the exhaust are now off, and I was able to lower it from the front. I left the brackets in the back are still attached. So I'm going to hinge it down from the front and have that lowered and put a piece of rubber underneath it so it doesn't hit the concrete floor. And then once that's down, I will relocate my jack to the back side here and see if I can lower this down as well. This is pretty sturdy, so I'll put a wood block between the exhaust and the jack so I don't damage the exhaust system. There is nothing else fastened here. This is just sitting here, connected by the hangers here. So once I get it down a little bit lower, should be able to release the electronic connection for each flap. I have to make a correction from my prior recording. Can't get to the bolt of this hanger. Let's remove the shield. So you can see it just took out one bolt here, Another bolt there. And then this bolt here. This is the passenger side. So I'll drop the shield. And then that will give me the access that I need. All right, exhaust system is out. I don't know if I actually need to take off this this brace here or not. I don't see that it's blocking anything for the removal of the transmission. If I have to, there's 3 bolts holding it in there, and then there's 1 bolt and nut on each end. If anybody wants to DIY this, don't do what I did and leave these bolts in. As the exhaust system, if you're going to leave this brace in, as the exhaust system slides down, and by the way, you have to drop the front so it's touching the ground first. So I put it on a rubber sheet so it doesn't scrape on the concrete. But when this slides down, technically it just touches this, and then it got hung up on these bolts here. So take those out. Yeah, don't leave them. That will make it easier for you. But otherwise, next we're going to be undoing all of the connections to the transmission. Now, mind you, we're not taking out, we're dropping the transmission from the bell housing back here, sorry, and to the rear casing. I'm now on the driver's side drive shaft. I had to figure out how to disable the e-brake so I could turn the rear wheels to get access to these bolts. If you turn on the ignition of the car and release the brake, the brake will stay unlocked, and then you can actually lock the car again. And it allows the wheel to be turned. Now, this forward bolt is the easiest one to get to because the axle is angled down a little bit here. You have a really hard time accessing these bolts because your ratchet's going to hit the boot here. So I'm going to work on the bolts in this position, turn the wheel, and just continue on. And then I'll go over to the passenger side, and I will do the same thing. All right, the axles are now disconnected. One note, you'll need an E14. I don't know if you can see that. That's necessary to take off the bolts on this. I have a feeling that this this axle may have been replaced, either that one or the passenger side, because this came off really easily. I could just do that with a standard ratchet. That came off easily. I needed a breaker bar to get the bolts off of this one. So I don't know if this one was replaced and someone tightened it beyond the specified foot-pounds of torque on each bolt, or is that the way it's supposed to be and this one was replaced and they didn't meet that specification. I don't know, but something was fishy. They were definitely not applied the same way. Let's take a look. Grab a bolt here. That's got blue thread lock on it. Nothing really suspect about that one. What about the other one on the other side? Yeah, look the same. My guess is my guess is that this is the one that was original, and this was the one that was replaced, and whoever replaced it didn't tighten it to spec. But I don't know. Anyway, those are undone, and we'll continue. We've got to take off the lines there. Those have to come undone. Each plug, just squeeze the back and give it a yank. It comes right off. No big deal. Same thing with this one here. Oh, by the way, somebody might be wondering, like, Yes, I'm on my back. Using a quick jack on this car. I've got it raised up just shy of 30 inches. Well, maybe not quite, 28. It's just enough to get me, get this transmission out with a low profile 7-inch scissor transmission jack to get this down. So yeah, next up, take off those hydraulic lines. Can't get to these until I drop it down a little bit, but these are flexible lines, so I can lower it a little bit just to give me some more room. And we'll need to loosen some of the bolts. There's a very specific order on how these are loosened on the bell housing. So let's get to it. We're in the home stretch now for just about final touches here before the transmission can be dropped. I'm on the driver's side right now, so this is the driver's side axle. This is going to have to be moved kind of forward and backwards with some of these disconnections. One, we've got our ground strap right here. You're going to remove this bracket right here. This is hydraulic fluid mount, and these are hydraulic lines. And there's a bolt right between those lines that has to come out. It's really important to have a hydraulic line stopper. Universal one will work just fine because that's going to be pouring fluid when it's out. So that has to come out. At that point, you're going to move your axle towards the front of the vehicle. And then this connection right here has to come out. It's got this tab. This spins. There's another one right above it. So those have to come out. This is all on the driver's side. I've read that people get confused by these coolant lines right here, and they try to take these lines off from here. That is inaccurate. You take them off from here. We're on the back sides. This is the rear cover. Same thing, one bolt. This bracket here will come off, and then these will come off. You'll need stoppers for that as well. And then your temperature sensor line right here. This needs to come out as well. And that is actually all of the connections on the transmission itself, just shy of the mounts. Oh, right. Heat shield has to come off on the bell housing. We're going to take that off too. All right, we've got our lines off and plugged, both driver's side and rear. I was able to get one of these cables off. The one I mentioned earlier up here is really, really tricky to get to. I can touch it, but yeah, I'm going to wait till I drop the transmission just a little bit. Heat shield is off on the bell housing. Next, I'm going to put a strap under to run over the frame, and that supports the bell housing. So when I disconnect the screws up here, top of the bearings, what I'm going to do is once the transmission is actually disconnected from the bearing itself, I'm going to jack it up just a little bit, maybe half an inch, just to take off the pressure from these brackets here. And I'll take off each one of those brackets, and then the only thing that will be supporting the transmission will be the bell housing. So bell housing might be resting on the strap for a little while, and I'll have to undo the bolts going around here. There's a connector up at the top that I need to get to when I lower it down a little bit as well. Before I get it down all the way, I'm going to make sure that cable's unplugged. I'm going to do a quadruple check to make sure there's nothing else that is connected to the transmission. And when I drop it down, I'll start with the top screws on the bell housing here. I'll get it down a little bit lower, and then I'll get these last two. And then the transmission should just wiggle loose out of the drive shaft. So I will resume the video when we get to that point. This boot is going to have to come off as well. I'll take that off shortly. I have a correction. So this is the driver's side bearing. I said there was one bolt on top. I believe that the SLS had a mounting system that was a single bolt. This is two. So the nice thing is the bolts that hold in the bearing to the frame and the bearing to the transmission mount, they're all the same bolts. Yep. So transmission is actually lowered 2 inches. I put this down very carefully. And I'm going to check the top. I know that this cable's clipped in, so I have to undo those wire ties that are holding it on. I've got the strap underneath the bell housing to allow it to drop a little bit and not too far. And I've got to get some screws off on the bell housing connecting to the transmission, and then this thing will be free.